We are almost good to go racing here at the Nurburgring in the second race of the weekend in the GT4 Central European Cup. We had one very intriguing race yesterday. It's a modest entry, sadly. There's a lot of GT4 racing going on these days, and with a busy weekend at Misano a week ago, I think one or two teams are catching their breath. But this is the third weekend. They've already been this season to Most, and they've been to the Red Bull Ring, and now here to the Nurburgring. The championship coming into this weekend, being led in the Pro Division by the KTM of Marilyn Niederhauser, the AM class by the Maserati of Giuseppe Fascicolo and Romy Dall'Antonio. And for this race, Nicolas Schurl, in his first season of car racing, is the man who lines up on pole position in the Allied Racing Run Porsche. And he's certainly going to be a driver to watch over the course of this first stint. Nicolas Schurl was good yesterday, but lost a bit too much time courtesy of his co-driver in the first stint that then proved to be quite hard to fight back from. The race is going to be 1 hour in duration. Everybody has to make a pit stop, and it is a mandatory stop of time. It's not a natural pit stop, it's to a time of 100 seconds, that pit window between 25 and 35 minutes. If you've got a second driver, that's when you do the change. If not, you just sit in the pit lane and do the minute. You don't have to refuel, you don't have to change drivers, it's just really for the driver change. And yesterday what we had was a quick car in the first stint being caught by a quick car in the second, and the race lead in the end on the last lap of the hour was just half a second.
And we have the Sin on the next to pole with Ivan Vlachov, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes against the GT4. And then behind him we have Matsis in the KTM Crossbow, the GT4. And next to him is Gozaya, who was going really quickly yesterday in the Audi R8 from Phoenix Racing. Behind her is Romy Dall'Antonio in the Maserati. And then next to him is Marcis Markinovic, if I've pronounced that correctly, in the Maserati also.
I think that's close enough. We've lost a Maserati, incidentally, because the Chodson, father and son, had an engine issue yesterday. When I say issue, it blew up. So they're out, I'm afraid. So we are one car short as we go into this rolling start then. Slightly incongruously, it's going to be behind a pace truck. And so you've got these desirable GT4 race cars like Porsche and Mercedes and Maserati being led round by the pace truck as part of this 33rd International ADAC Truck Grand Prix. But it's not the first time we've had GT cars here. 2 years ago, Blancpain Sprint was part of the weekend. Last season, it was the German club-level Spezial Tourenwagen Trophy that took this guest slot. And this year, the Central European Cup for these GT4 cars. They're the KTMs going through. Mercedes, Porsche further back on the grid. So Nicolas Schurl for the Allied Racing Porsche squad starts on pole position. Ivan Vlachkov's Sin alongside him. The second row, Gosaya Dest's Audi, runner-up yesterday. And then Benjamin Mazetis in the white KTM, a car that was damaged when his co-driver Amari Corpivara had a bit of a coming together with another of the KTMs. The third row, Ronnie Antonio, who was fourth yesterday and a class winner in the AM Maserati. The sister car of Maciej Marcinkiewicz alongside. Then it's Helmut Rödig, who was third yesterday in the number 4 Audi, and David Klaas KTM, which was involved in the incident with Corpivara yesterday. Then we have Marilyn Niederhauser starting on the 5th row, but the winner yesterday with Mads Siljehoug, and the pseudonymed Freddie Fast, who was 9th yesterday, is for company. The back row, Joachim Bölting in number 41 Porsche, and then it's Cora Schumacher, the former wife of Ralf Schumacher, who will complete the grid. So, as I say, sadly, it's not quite as strong numerically as we might have expected, but yesterday's race was a very interesting one indeed, and hopefully we'll have a repeat today as you get different speeds of driver in the different stints. But I reckon Vlachkov could be the man to watch in the first stint.
Yep, he's got faster and faster over the weekend.
Indeed.
Apart from the spin into the gravel in one of the sessions.
Oh, that's right, that was late in yesterday's race, wasn't it, that cost him, he dropped him down to 8th place.
That's right.
So he's got to get that out of his system, but allow
but
him for that.
For that, he got the benefit of on the second to pole.
Exactly right. So the 6.2 litre Sin alongside the 3.6 litre Porsche as they come now up towards the timing line. The pace truck peels in. It's not a set number of laps, this race. The flag will go out the first time the leader crosses the line once the hour is up. And who is it going to be then that gets the best start on the run now? Down towards turn one, it is Nicholas Scherl from the inside of the front row that gets away nicely. Ivan Vlachkov goes with him from the third row of the grid. The striped Maserati of Romy Dall'Antonio tries to get up the inside as well as they dive down towards turn one, but Scherl is away. But is he going to slow the car down in time? Yes, he does. He brakes really late, gets away with it. A good start also made by Joachim Bulting in the other Cayman look from the back of the grid there.
Yeah, right from the back.
Basara Dest up into third place. Number 4 is Helmut Rödig, podium finisher yesterday in the almost martini-coloured Audi. Those two Audis guests into the championship, run by the Phoenix Racing Squad, based just over the road. And a second and a third yesterday, but it was the KTM that won of Marilyn Niederhauser and Mads Sullyhorg, and that's going to be a car to watch to see where it is in the first stint relative to the opposition.
Mazatis looked like he was trying to make a move there on the Maserati, but didn't come through.
Yeah, Benjamin Mazatis in the white KTM, former single-seater gun in the ADAC Formula 4 Championship. There they sprint their way up towards the S's. So number 20, Cora Schumacher, at the rear of the field, out of Ravenel, then through Bilstein. Mazatis, he's still having a go, isn't he?
Yep.
But he's coming under attack now, because up behind him is the Helmut Rödig Audi alongside as they head up towards the chicane. Absolutely side by side, those two. Mazatis brakes very, very late
yeah,
and goes back through on the inside line.
Whoa. Just shows how much more nimble the KTMs are.
Are also using the softer version of the chicane here, so they didn't have to stop quite as heavily as the trucks do, because they use this smoother version of the chicane. At the end of lap 1 then, Nicholas Scherl it is that leads the way by 2.2 seconds from Ivan Vlachkov. In third place is Kusaya Radest, fourth is Romy Dall'Antonio, and side by side for fifth. On the inside then is Mazatis on the outside line, and back ahead of him goes Rödig, and Rödig at the inside of the Maserati, and they touch, and around goes the Maserati, and it gets another hit by the Audi. Big drama down at turn 1. Helmut Rödig gets away with that, but Romy Dall'Antonio, through no fault of his own, gets nerfed into a spin.
And he's back on the move. But badly damaged front bumper.
Rödig was so busy trying to defend from Mazatis that he completely forgot about having to brake for the corner and cannoned into the Maserati. And it would not be a surprise, would it, if number 4 Audi got a drive-through for that?
Yeah.
So Rödig is still going. He's got Joachim Bulting behind him. Now there, look, the pink and purple KTM, Marilyn Niederhauser at the wheel of it. That's the car that won yesterday's race, and right now she's in 10th spot with quite a bit of work to do.
There you can see Bulting has moved up a few places from the start.
He was 8th over the line. He'll have gained another one with the spinning Maserati. Here it is, look. Rödig defends and then thinks, oh no, I can't stop, and bang, it was always going to happen, and that taps Dall'Antonio into the spin.
And then bashes him again at the front.
Yeah, kind of headbutts him on his way around, doesn't he? So they've all survived it, but I think a penalty may well be coming, and there are bits of Maserati lying in the ground.
The Maserati Trident.
A few €1,000 there.
Yeah.
And that's dropped off at the hairpin.
Yeah.
So Romy Dall'Antonio's car suffered more damage perhaps than we first thought. There are the leaders going through. Yep. Nicholas Scherl it is by 2.8 seconds now from Vlachkov. Radest is third. That last lap by Gashaya Radest a little bit quicker, so she's closing. Now here comes Helmut Rödig, and he's going to miss his braking point again. Look, he brakes so late as he gets up on the outside of Marcinkiewicz, runs way out wide, off the road, back on again. He's going to go for the inside line into turn 2, and he gets the job done there. That was brave, that was better.
Yeah, risky, but better.
Here comes Bulting round the outside.
Bulting, yeah. Can he make it stick? No. Maserati closes the door.
So down they come to the hairpin. Bulting has a look on the inside line, the East Sky Maserati then. This is Marcinkiewicz, who was going to have a co-driver. As it turns out, Lukasz Kreski was taken rather unwell on Friday evening, so it meant that both qualifying sessions and both races are being done by Marcinkiewicz. He's become a soloist, so Kreski only got to drive in the free practice periods on Friday.
It's a shame. Whoa!
Bulting way out wide there.
Yeah.
So down they come through the Ad Van Bogen. Marilyn Niederhauser, still intriguingly, a long way back here, because she's now, 11.8 seconds away from the race leader.
Goodness.
That gap widening all the time then. So the second stint, which will be done by Oscar Tunjo for the number 3 Gosara Dest Audi, versus Mads Siljehoog. They were the two that raced in the first stint yesterday. He's going to put the pressure on Siljehoog to fight back. There's Vlachkov under attack. Over the timing line they go. And
Gazaya goes through.
Indeed so, on the inside. I was about to mention, and this is no surprise to anybody, the team manager of the number 4 Audi to race control.
Ooh.
So Helmut Röding's zealotry, I think, is about to be admonished. This was how he got past Marcinkovic. So look, again, he comes from a long, long way back.
Just doesn't break. Oh, this is the other one. This
Yeah.
is not the...
This is when he got the place round the... I mean, this was brave, but
Yeah.
I did fear for him for a moment.
Yeah.
Round the outside, he can do it without contact.
Yeah.
And what he managed to do was keep his foot in, drag it out the other side, and then he's got the inside line for turn 2.
Yeah. So that was good driving. Shame about the bad driving in the previous time at that corner.
Yes, he made the mistake, got that out of his system, learned what not to do, blended it properly.
We need to wait and find out what the penalties will be.
Yeah, I think it might be a drive-through, but we'll await confirmation as Mazatis goes through. That white KTM yesterday had a broken suspension component, didn't it, after the contact with the Lennart Marionetch, David Clark KTM.
Yeah.
So there is Mazatis, former F4 racer, who then came into GT4. He's raced in the VLN and in the 24-hour series, so he's another of these young guns developing a career within GT racing, where there are far more opportunities. You kind of fear a bit for the future of single-seater racing.
Yes, yes. He's a very handy driver, Matstis.
He is. He's looked good, hasn't he, this weekend? So, leader goes by. Schürrle to Radesh now is 4.3 seconds.
Whoa, he's really pulling a lead out there, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's got to, because yesterday Rob Sivers was not as quick, was he?
No, he wasn't. Whoa, he went a bit wide there.
So Nicolas Schürrle, the Austrian driver, coming into car racing this year out of a good karting background, powering his way now out of the turn 4 right-hander and doing exactly what he is here to do. Drive flat out and give your co-driver a good opportunity. Gusara Radesh then second, Vlachkov is third, and Mazatis is fourth. And Mazatis last time lapped quicker than not only Vlachkov, but also Radesh ahead of him.
Oof.
So this could all concertina up nicely, couldn't it?
Yeah. Gazaya looks strong. Oh, look at that. Though Ivan's going well in that sin.
Yeah, he lost that place early on, but he's not given up, has he?
No.
I do like the look of that car. It works nicely in those colours.
Yeah.
Roman Daslikov's firm, Sin, he's based in the UK, but it's a Bulgarian team. And Ivan Vlachkov then accelerates out of the chicane. Bulgarian driver. Powering his way towards the timing line as through goes Nicolas Schürrle. Number 77, Robbie Dall'Antonio, after the damage, is being given the meatball flag, the black and orange mechanical warning flag for something falling off the car. The fastest lap of the race has just been done by Helmut Röding, so he's coming back into the frame now.
Car 77.
So Dall'Antonio with the mechanical warning flag. In other words, there's something either loose or wrong with your car that you may not be aware of. Marilyn Niederhauser goes through ahead of David Clark. These are two KTMs at the moment, running 9th and 10th, giving the co-drivers quite a lot of work to do. Mads Siljehoug will take over 26. 22 will be taken over by Lennart Marionetch. And both drivers are going to have to really push on, aren't they?
Yep, they really are. Mads Siljehoug is very, very good. And he's very much quicker. So, because he gave her the huge gap yesterday.
Yeah. Having had to battle his way up past Oscar Tunjo for the lead.
Yeah.
So it was a deserved win for Siljehoug yesterday.
Yeah.
So there goes Freddie Fast, who is 8th, which is one place better than he finished yesterday at the moment, in fact. Pseudonymed Freddie Fast before you asked.
Yeah, we've never found out what his real name is.
But it's a feature, isn't it, of German and Austrian racing. There are a lot of people that prefer to race still under a pseudonym.
Yeah.
And it's a regular part of the 24 hours that you go off and try and ferret out the real names of all of these drivers.
Yeah.
I think Gin and Tonic was my favourite of the pseudonyms that we've had in recent years. So Freddie Fast, he's not a Freddie either,
no.
but he's fast enough to be 8th at the moment, keeping at bay a rather curb-happy Marilyn Niederhauser there, who races in the main European as well as the Central European GT4 Championship. There's going to be a GT4 World Final in Bahrain at the end of the year as part of the GT Festival there with the Pro-Am FIA GT3 World Cup. So, an hour race, and we've done 10 minutes, give or take, as they're closing right up is David Clark, and he had to back out of that, didn't he?
Yeah, he had to back out, because Marlon slowed quicker than he thought. There's Attis in the white KTM, number 25.
All these KTMs run by Hans Reiter's firm.
Yeah.
Hans for a long time associated with Lamborghini, wasn't he?
Yep. You can still see the damage marks on the front left-hand side of his car from yesterday. Very aggressive stance and look to them, isn't there?
There is, and they look nicer than the open-top cars. In the very early days of GT4, which is well over a decade ago now, they had the KTM crossbows, which were open-top, but these with the spoiler, with the rather more svelte bodywork. Okay, they're not an Audi, they're not a Mercedes, they're not a Porsche, but they look a more complete race car now.
Yeah.
And as you'll see when we get to the pit window, the way that the doors open, well, it's not so much a door, it's the roof that opens up, isn't it?
Yeah.
It tilts forward.
Yeah. There's Roddick. No word on the race director's concerns or results?
Not yet. We do know that Roddick has got the fastest lap of the race. He's just done a 1:32.872, so he's half a second quicker. And there is Dal Antonio. Is that a puncture?
It might be a puncture, but also these front splitters coming off and dragging.
Well, that's, I think, what the black and orange is for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's. I was just going to say that's the black and orange. And he's coming into the pits.
Now, that's interesting that the splitter is off, because he was hitting the side, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But no, he was hit head on. He got a second hit, didn't he?
He got a second hit, head butt hit. Probably splitter to splitter at that point. But yeah, that's just dragging, coming off.
So the SRO technical official wants to have a look, and the team will try and either rip that off or
and it's
tape it up.
It's broke the whole bonnet here at the front as well.
But the danger is now they lose a lap. So they'll try and take that off, I think, getting back in the race. Because if you lose a lap, your history. If you can stay on the lead lap and...
No, they're going to drill holes and put screws in and keep it on.
OK. Or tie wrap, I think.
Tie wrap, yeah, cable ties. Cable ties and gaffer tape. Essential parts of your toolkit.
Man's best friend.
Yeah.
So if they keep him on the lead lap, you never know. But I think it's going to be a tall order, this.
Yeah. Now, it didn't seem such a big hit when we seen it at the corner, but you look at the damage there, it is quite substantial.
Giuseppe Fascicolo looking on as the leader goes by, and so they've dropped a lap in the race now. Nicolas Schurl is leading from Gosaya Rodest by 4 seconds. The gap up again last time. Third is Ivan Velachkov. And then fourth is Benjamin Mazatis, being caught, is he not, by Roddick?
He's being caught by Roddick, indeed. And then we have the other Maserati.
Marilyn Niederhauser is making heavy weather about getting past Freddie Fast here.
Yeah. We have a picture of the Maserati. Yes.
So there is a frustrated Romeo Dal Antonio, who's had a win this year.
Yeah.
But has lost a lap now.
And not his fault.
No.
Totally nothing he could do about it. All that expensive carbon fibre, just diamond drill just straight through it.
Exactly, exactly. Well, the team thinks, well, you know, we'll just invoice you afterwards. Let's try and get you back out on track.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 2 laps lost, I fear, for Dal Antonio. It's had serious consequences. Whereas there, the aggressor is up into 4th place, 5th place rather now, Helmut Roddick.
Dependent on the outcome, of course.
Yeah. I mean, the stewards will be looking at it. They'll have a word with the team manager, but I'm surprised if a penalty doesn't come for that.
Yeah.
Marilyn Niederhauser, in the meantime, drops a length or 2 away from Freddie Fast.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
What's going on here? Out of the chicane. Behind them, look, you've got David Clark in the next to the KTMs. The leader goes by. Nicolas Schurl ahead. But the way that Gosaya Rodest is going, as there you see Dal Antonio leaving the pit lane, if Gosaya Rodest can stay within 5 seconds of the leader, given how quick Oscar Tunjo was, number 3 Audi's a shoe-in for a win, isn't it?
Yep, yep.
Tell you what, those tie wraps haven't tied a lot. It's still a bit flappy,
it's
isn't
flapping away there. And that's not going to be good. That's going to make his stability down the straights compromised.
Absolutely. As there, Fast and Niederhauser get through.
And yeah, the gap is growing.
Yeah, David Clark coming back, isn't he, in the next of the KTMs there.
Oof. No, that's not going to last. On the 77 Maserati.
No, it's still dragging on the ground, isn't it?
Yeah.
Making horrible noises as it skims the tarmac.
Yeah.
And the officials will be seeing all these pictures, so again,
Yeah.
they'll want that in.
Yeah.
It's not just the splitter, it's the whole front bodywork, isn't it?
Yeah,
You can see
it's
the whole
just
thing
everything's just moving.
Yeah.
And all the cable ties have now broke, so it's now coming completely loose again.
So there's Marilyn Niederhauser in the pink and purple KTM.
She's made up some ground a little bit, but not catching him, is he?
No. Again, I think we saw this yesterday. We were talking about it in the first race. Through the corners, the KTMs are good. But you saw there in a straight line where the power of the Mercedes AMG GT4 kicked in, it just romps away.
Yeah.
Here, braking corner, KTM back on terms. Wait
Yeah.
for the end of the pit straight, though.
The Mercedes grunt and talk just takes it down.
Yeah.
Although she's tucking in his slipstream a bit.
So too for that
But
matter.
look, just moves away, moves away, moves away.
A drive-through penalty for Audi number 4. Helmut Rödig has predicted he's getting a drive-through for scuppering the chances of the 77 Maserati. So that's got to be served.
Yeah.
Great little battle, though, this, because, again, through the twiddly bits, Marilyn Niederhauser is back onto the tail of the Mercedes.
Yeah. And David Clark can't get through because they're fighting in front of him.
So Freddie Fast comes into the hairpin, back onto the power, sprints out the other side now.
And this section of the track suits him more, so he'll pull away again.
Behind you've got the damaged Maserati, as Niederhauser has a tentative look up the inside, but I think, again, he's going to lose out now as the power of the Mercedes kicks in. David Clark just lagging back a little bit. We're only about, what, 7 minutes or so from the pit window opening.
Yeah.
So the drive-through's got to be served pretty soon by Helmut Rödig. You've got 3 passings of the timing line after you get the notification. Just up the road ahead of this battle is 7th place Porsche of Joachim Bolting. The leading Porsche has gone by with the lead gap coming down on that last lap by 0.4 of a second. As again, look, Niederhauser closing right up under braking through the hairpin at the Jaguar curve. And then the gap will just elastically open up again as the Mercedes powers clear.
Yeah, you just look, it just changes gear and then goes.
Back into the pit lane comes Dall'Antonio, and Rödig is in as well to serve the drive-through. So Helmut Rödig comes into the pits.
You should keep well away from the Maserati pits then.
I think he will, yes. Be well advised to. There he is. He's done the drive-through. He's back out again. Whoops, you're not meant to cut the white line at pit out.
Oh.
And he did it. That might be another penalty. Race directors tell you to treat that white line like a barrier.
A wall,
and if you drive through a wall, expect consequences.
Oops. Yeah, young Luke Wilgarten suffered that as a penalty in his last race. Cost Matsis the #1 spot. Yeah. Fast Freddy still in front of Marilyn and David behind.
So Niederhauser with a different co-driver for this weekend. Mads Siljehoog taking the place of Patrick Niederhauser, the unrelated Patrick Niederhauser, even though they are an item, they're not related, astonishingly, despite the name. Right, there is what's left at the front of the Maserati, but I think this might be game over.
Yeah, it's literally in bits. And the battle carries on. Niederhauser closing up in the corners, as if they were joined by a big elastic band.
Well, that elastic is about to stretch, isn't it now? Because this is Mercedes country onto the pit straight.
Yeah.
So Rödig has done his drive-through. There's the repair work going on the Maserati.
Yeah.
But I fear, even if this does come out, it will have lost so many laps, it'll be out of competitive
And
places.
there's 5 minutes to the pit window as well.
So Remy Dall'Antonio then sits frustrated in the pit lane. They had a win early on in the year at the Red Bull Ring in the second of the 2 events that we've had this season. So Schürrle leading, 3.8 seconds is the margin. Gosara Dest is keeping him on his toes, though. He's not getting away in that bullet-shaped Cayman. Vlachkov is third, Mazat is fourth, fifth is Marcinkiewicz, sixth is Bulting, seventh is Fast, eighth is Niederhauser, ninth is Klar, 10th after the drive-through is Rödig. There is Bulting way up the curb, 11th now Cora Schumacher. But it's going to be interesting, isn't it, to see what progress Helmut Rödig can make after that drive-through, because it's a long pit lane here, so you lose a lot through it.
Yeah, you lose all your momentum, and then you come out and you've got to brake hard for turn one anyway. So then you've got to try and gather it up and move on. She's just not... And Fast Freddy's just playing the game. He's just driving a smooth drive, fast, using the Mercedes power when it's good, keeping it in touch. And oh, they've got the angle grinders out for the Maserati, and the angle grinders are broke. So,
yes, there's an angle, but not much grinding.
Yeah.
It's going from bad to worse, this, isn't it, for them?
Yeah.
So there's Fast, Niederhauser and Klar over the line. This, remember, is 4th, 7th, 8th and 9th places. Then behind them, playing catch-up, is Helmut Rödig, who is lapping nearly 2 seconds quicker than these three.
Right.
So that's going to be a four-way fight soon.
Yeah, yeah. And he was in sight there.
It's another of those compare and contrast situations, isn't it? Because you've got one team, the innocent party, toiling away with a damaged car, losing place after place, lap after lap. And Helmut Rödig, who caused it all,
is making progress.
Got a drive through, but so what? You know, he's still storming along.
Yeah, he's back into the top 10.
So Marilyn Niederhauser closing up. Now, in real terms, she is 25 seconds away from the race lead.
It's a lifetime.
It's going to give Mads Siljehoeg a lot of work to do here. Not only has she not got the pace at the front, but she's also stuck behind this Mercedes. Were she to get through, she might be able to get away, but she's stuck there. Good through the corners, bad on the straights.
Yeah. And that's what they say about the KTM. It's not aerodynamic enough down the straights. It's not smooth enough. The Porsches and the Mercedes are more streamlined. My God, they've really got that angle grinder going there. Whoa.
The poor chap can't really see what he's aiming for either. Here's Niederhauser then again, lining up to try and have a go, but it's got to be under braking, but she'll be so far back when she gets to the braking zone.
Yeah.
He's Rödig with them. He's almost there, isn't he, behind?
Yeah, he's only just behind, just out of shot there.
There goes Fast. The two KTMs drop back, and Rödig will be through now, and the gap between David Klar and Helmut Rödig is 3.6 seconds, so the Audi there is almost with them.
Yeah. So then it's going to get even more interesting. There's Bolting just gone through ahead of them. Oh, she's close for a challenge, but not close enough through the hairpin. And now the Mercedes will storm away through this back section. Oh, big move over the curbs there for Marilyn.
She's going to be a bit wide there, up the curb as well, which brings David Klar back into the mix.
Yeah, it just loses you speed in the KTM, unsettles the car. Look at the gap that the Mercedes has pulled out up to the chicane.
In fairness, the KTMs are sort of working together. David Klar's never really darting around to try and take the place away from Marilyn Niederhauser.
No.
So in that respect, they are doing a sensible job. They're not slowing each other up.
Yeah. Until Rödig comes up the back of Klar, and then Klar will be under pressure from Rödig.
But the pit window is going to be open by the end of this lap, so they might be advised, because these are the slower drivers anyway, to get in and get the stop out of the way.
Yep. Then let Siljehoeg in and see what he can do.
Exactly, because he's now got half a minute, pretty much, to make up.
Which is a lot, but we have got 35 minutes left.
So Nicolas Schurl, the leader, will give way to Rob Sievers, who's not quite as quick. Gosara Dest to the quicker Oscar Tunjo.
Yeah.
Vlachkov stays behind the wheel of the Sin. Mazatis to give way to Corpivara, Ilmari Corpivara, who was pretty decent yesterday, but a bit wild on one occasion.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot to shake out of the second half of this race.
Yep.
Look at Rödig, the pace of that Audi, and he will give way to Jean-Louis Jasper, who is very quick. Right, there's your gaffer tape.
There's your gaffer tape coming out.
So they've cut the front of the splitter away.
Yeah, they've cut it off completely because they knew they wouldn't be able to ever stick it on and repair it.
And we're going to be into the pit window in about 4 seconds' time, so they might as well put Fascicolo in.
I was just going to say, that's just what I was going to say. Why not just put Fascicolo in now?
Other than Dan Antonio might want to get a few more laps for his money, I suppose.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what they do now. They're so far back. They've lost 7 laps.
Yeah.
It's just going through the motions, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just going through the motions now, which is a real shame.
So the leaders, 4 seconds apart, and you can tell you're getting to the pit window because Nicholas Schürrle has just upped his pace again and done a personal fastest lap. Fastest lap of anybody is Helmut Rödig.
Goodness.
There he is in the background, so he's got the KTMs out of the way because they're in the pit lane, surely.
It must be in the pit lane, yeah. He wouldn't have got by 2 of them.
Niederhauser is in, Klar is in. There is Freddie Fast as Mads Siljehoog gets ready to take over. Also standing there is Lennart Marianec. So the 2 of them that share a car in the Blancpain GT Series Endurance Cup are ready to go toe-to-toe in their respective KTMs. And now you'll see what I mean about the door opens, which really means the front lifts. So you suddenly have a bit more room to play with there, although there's still the cage to cope with. In drops Mads Siljehoug. It's 100 seconds, line to line. Marilyn Niederhauser helps with the belts. Likewise, David Klar vacates for Lennart Marianec.
Changing the actual physical seat, which has been formed by heated chemicals in a bag.
So Lennart, or Lenny, Marianec on board. And the teams monitoring all of this on the stopwatch. It's 100 seconds line to line. Meantime, the Tank Tape Special, new lightweight model of the Maserati, is kind of good to go.
Yeah. But have they changed the driver? Doesn't look like it.
I think so. So there's the leader, Nicholas Schürrle, up to complete lap 18. He will stay in till the bitter end because he's the quicker of the 2 drivers. So they'll maximise the time available to Schürrle here.
So he'll probably do another 2 laps.
Yeah, I guess so. Away goes Marianec as in comes Mazatis, and slowly in as though he couldn't get to his pit box there.
Yeah.
Maybe he was trying to get in and suddenly thought, where am I meant to be? So Mazatis to get out. Ilmari Kopivara to get in. Move 1 seat, replacement seat. Quick check of tyres. And there's the race leader. So more and more cycle through the pit stops. Gosira Dest also staying out for quite a long time.
But he's in a world of his own there.
And there is the race leader then, Nicholas Schürrle, pressing on. Another lap done. But this is what I was suggesting. He'll stay out for as long as he can. Gosira Dest coming in towards the Jaguar curve. But when Oscar Tunjo gets behind the wheel of that DeWalt-backed Phoenix Run Audi, Ernst Moser's team, it's going to be a seriously quick bit of kit. Not suggesting that Gosira Dest isn't fast, but
Tunjo is just quicker. Yeah. There's Ivan in the sin.
now even though the Maserati is in the pit lane and the window is open, you can't combine the 2 pit stops, so they're going to have to do at least 1 more lap.
Oh, right.
In order to make the driver change pit stop a separate pit stop.
Oh, how annoying is that?
And the pit stop time of the Siljehoug Niederhauser car is under investigation. So the pit stop time of Mads Siljehoug and Marilyn Niederhauser under investigation. If you're a 1/10 of a second under even, it still might incur you a penalty. So we'll keep an eye to that, as there is Helmut Rödig's car now in the hands of Jean-Louis Jasper back into the race.
I did think the Niederhauser car had left a bit early, but...
Well, Mads Siljehoug gets waved away by the team, and unless it was him with his right foot, it's the team and the stopwatch that's at fault.
Oh.
So there's not much you can do in the pit stop, but you can get it wrong.
Yes, you can get it wrong, unfortunately.
So there, look, is Jean-Louis Jasper now ahead of Mads Siljehoug, and this is going to be the battle for position. So for whom do we wait still? Oscar Tunjo at Phoenix is ready to relieve Gosira Dest. And straight away, now that we've had the driver changes, in number 22, the car in the hands now of Lennart Marionech. He has done the absolute best in the first sector.
Whoa.
So 22 KTM, Lennart Marionech getting on with the job.
Yeah.
There's the leader, another lap done. He's running this fine to the end of the window, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Radest is in to give way now to Oscar Tunjo.
Yeah.
So there's another 6 minutes or so of the window, but Oscar Tunjo gets on board, and he's a very quick driver.
And I love the cooling the engine down, keeping the air going through the fans at the front.
But the Phoenix team, they've won the 24 hours here, they've won in Blancpain, they've won in DTM, they've won races and titles, you name it. This is a very experienced team, isn't it? They know everything to do.
Yeah.
Tyre pressure's being checked and adjusted if needs be. Jasper ahead of Siljehoog now, so Audi versus KTM. Behind them is Marionech, getting closer and closer all the time, but don't forget there's this Damocletian investigation over Siljehoog, who's way out wide.
Yeah.
You've also got the fastest lap of the race now done by the man behind these two, Lennart Marionech, quickest man on the road.
Yeah. Oh, he's got to sit in the car, hasn't he? Because Kresge's still ill, that's right.
So Maciej Marcinkiewicz sits and waits before he's allowed back out. Same that will be for Ivan Vlachikov when he pits.
Yeah.
But now you can see Jean-Louis Jasper getting closer to Mads Siljehoog. Door closes for Marcinkiewicz, ready to go. Fires up. Marionech closing up onto the tail of these two as they thunder their way out of the Ad Van Bogen up towards the chicane. This is for the leader, lap 21. And of course the order now shuffled and the gap's widened by dint of the stops. Oscar Tunjo is back into the race. And also under investigation is this Audi that makes a mistake at the last corner. Siljehoog comes up on the inside line, tries to get through again. Now you'll see the grunt and go of the Audi relative to the KTM. So the pit stop time for Jean-Louis Jasper is under investigation. He fends off the KTM, but only just. It's going to be under braking now at the end of the pit straight. Siljehoog will dive up the inside if he's close enough. He thinks about the inside. He brakes late, brakes later, brakes latest, and goes through and goes wide and goes off and goes down a place, or does he? Fights back on the inside line. Together they run. On the inside is Siljehoog, and the KTM with a shorter line goes through. Great racing.
Great racing.
Ivan Vlachikov is into the pit lane in the Sin.
Yeah, he's just got to sit his 100 seconds.
There's not much you can do just sitting there, is there, apart from maybe take on some liquid?
Yeah.
Right, so one KTM has got past the Audi. Can Marionech get through as well? Jean-Louis Jasper goes a little bit deep into the corner there.
Using all the curbs.
Siljehoog's on a mission though, isn't he now? He's got through and he knows he's got to crack on with this. Into the pit lane has come the race leader, Nicolas Schurl. So now the fascination becomes into the second part of the race. All the gaps are going to change around because we've got some that had a big gap. Now will lose that as they sit in the pit lane. Jasper comes back at Siljehoog as the power of the Audi kicks in. There's the leader coming in to serve his pit stop. But what about that battle on track? Has Jasper gone through? He has. He goes off. He goes through the gravel. Back on again. He's sideways. Marionech goes one way, Siljehoog goes the other. The two KTMs almost meet in the middle. Marionech on the inside line is going to get 2 places in one fell swoop there because he comes up on the inside of Mads Siljehoog. Jasper chucked that one away by carrying too much speed into the chicane, and so Lennart Marionech goes through ahead. Can he outbrake and stay ahead of Siljehoog down to the braking zone? Here comes Jasper in the Audi that's already been in the wars once here. Into the braking zone, Marionech goes through, goes deep. Siljehoog comes back and in. Retakes the place, so Siljehoog, 1 up and 1 down, but he's managed to get back ahead. Marionech goes with him. Mads Siljehoog stays ahead, and it's the Audi that comes out worse. Wow.
Yeah. And he's probably going to get a penalty for cutting through the chicane.
And he's still being investigated for the pit stop as well, so they've had 1 penalty already for causing a collision. It's all going on for number 4.
Yeah.
So Siljehoog is back ahead of Marionech. Marionech stays ahead there of the Audi of Jean-Louis Jasper. And the top 2 now of Schurl and Bulting, because they were first and second doing late stops, both into the pit lane.
Cool, full of action.
Absolutely, there may not be many starters, only a dozen on the track, but we've had a lot to talk about, and it's not done yet as Marionech pulls out of the draft now to make a move against Siljehoog. Up the inside he comes.
Whoa!
Up the curb.
Up the curb on the grass.
wasn't given much room by Mad Silly Hog, but Lennart Marionech was committed to that. Remember, they're teammates.
Yeah.
I use the word mate advisedly. Out of the chicane they flick. Mad Silly Hog still ahead. Now to the braking zone for the Jaguar curve. Yesterday we had 2 KTMs collide. Could happen again.
Yeah. Silly Hog is on a mission. He's on a mission.
But Lennart Marionech isn't here for his health either, is he? He wants a good result out of all of this. Right, the leading car is about to go back on track. Rob Sievers at the wheel of it. As there, every which way they dive into turn 1. Silly Hog ahead of Marionech. Jean-Louis Jasper behind them. So they gain track position back over 41 in the background. Freddie Kramer's Porsche. Pit window is now closed. Everybody has done a stop. You see the rear damage on the Audi there after it's a sorted incident. I think that was going through the gravel at the chicane.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, that was the curbs at the chicane. And they pull ahead of the Audi, Jean-Louis. But then it comes into his own here with the extra grunt and power.
We have Lennart Marionech there, number 22, in the white, black and orange with the green mirrors, KTM, being warned about track limits. So he's already done the fastest lap of the race, but such is the aggression being put in here. He's just being warned about not using too much of the road.
Yeah, he was getting a bit leery that last lap, wasn't he?
So the lead is, I think, going to change imminently. You've got 7 seconds between Sievers and Tunjo. Up the curve goes Jean-Louis Jasper in the background, but on the pace of yesterday, I don't think Rob Sievers is going to be able to keep that advantage, is he?
No, I would say not. And so there's the Maserati, the poor Maserati.
9 laps down.
Yeah.
So there are the KTMs. Lennart Marionech tries again to make his move. He brakes very, very late on the outside line down towards turn 1. Up the curve behind him goes Jean-Louis Jasper.
We got a replay
here of the KTMs at play. That was how Marionech got through, but then ran wide, giving the place back to Silly Hog a little bit earlier on.
Yeah.
So we've got just under 23 minutes of the race remaining here. And Silly Hog still pushing on, but it's number 3 Audi that we need to be looking at. And now number 26, Mad Silly Hog's team manager to race control. That must be for the pit lane pit stop time. So we still haven't had anything more about the number 4 Audi. We still haven't had any more confirmation about the previous pit stop investigations. However, it's all happening in the officials' offices at the moment as Rob Sievers then comes over the line. And that lap is a 1:35.5. Oscar Tunjo is going to be with him very shortly because Sievers goes down towards turn 1 with only 5.3 seconds in hand as the KTMs virtually as one come into the chicane again.
Yeah.
Ahead of them is Marcinkiewicz. Behind them, and dropping away a bit now, is Jean-Louis Jasper. Through they turn out of the right-hander that brings you onto the pit straight, the Jaguar curve. And this is for 5th, 6th and 7th. Marcinkiewicz is 5th, Silly Hog behind him, Marionech 7th. So a proper 3-way battle for honours here.
Silly Hog goes for the inside line and passes the Maserati.
Nicely done, that.
Nicely done, yeah.
And then behind them both, you've got Jean-Louis Jasper trying to join back in again.
Yeah.
So way out wide is Silly Hog. That might be a track limit question. And the car's all nervous and it gets all crossed up and he's out wide. Back through goes Marcinkiewicz. Marionech tries to go through, but Silly Hog loses the place he's just gained to the Maserati and forces Marionech out wide. So that brings Jean-Louis Jasper back into the mix on the inside. He's got up alongside 1. He hasn't going to get past 2, but Jasper gets ahead of Marionech, who was put off his line by his teammate.
Oh, God. Unusual mistake by Silly Hog.
Well, it's had serious consequences because he's lost a place and his teammate Marionech has lost 1 as well. It brings Jean-Louis Jasper back into contention, at least in this 5th place battle.
Yep.
Out of the chicane comes Marcinkiewicz then with a bit more breathing space over Mad Silly Hog, who is still pushing on. So the leaders have gone through. The gap is down to 4 seconds now between Sievers and Tunjo. In third place, it is Ilmari Korpivara, who is also lapping quicker than the race leader. Fourth, it's Vlachkov. In fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, here they come. Marcinkovic, Siljehorg, Jasper, and then Marionette behind.
Yeah. Oh, and Siljehorg has moved on the Maserati and got through at turn 1.
And now he needs to be error-free around this next section, doesn't he? Try and get away. But look at the amount of speed he carries that puts him wide up the curb.
Yeah. And Martinez is challenging the Audi. He's got it, he's made it stick, so he's through as well.
So Lennart Marionette goes through. That puts him back up into 7th place. And now he wants to make a move against Marcinkovic, remember, who's been in the car since the start, so he might be fading a bit now.
Yes. Hot work inside there, I would imagine.
And has he got a problem? He doesn't really... he lets them go. So
he's letting them go.
Marcinkovic may have thought he was being lapped, but anyway, he's let them go. So that gives up what was 5th place to the quicker cars. And so Marcinkovic bails out of that. In fairness, he runs in the AM Cup, and it's points in your class that you're after. So although there's overall pride, there's no real purpose for keeping them all at bay just for the sake of it. So lets them go, let the battles continue, and Mad Siljehorg, now released, is away and gone. Away up the curb again is Jean-Louis Jasper. He's done that before. Yeah. He survives it, but only just.
Yeah, Siljehorg increasing his gap over Martinez. But Jasper is not giving up.
And nor, for that matter, is Oscar Tunjo, because the leading gap, there it is, look, is down to just 2.8 seconds as they come into the hairpin. So 2.8 with 18 minutes to go. It's when, not if, isn't it?
Yeah. There they are. Rob Sievers has got his mirrors full of Audi now. He comes up to the chicane, through the chicane. Gentle use of the cabs. Tunja took a bit more cabs behind him on the power, now in the paddock straight. Tunja's closing up. Extra grunt of the Audi down the straight. And there comes the sin of Ivan Blachkov. Sievers and Tunjo safely through turn 1, heading for the Yokohama S's. There's Markinoch in the KTM. And here comes Siljehorg, still ahead. And Jean-Louis Jasper still hanging on there.
So into the traffic they will be in a moment. There you've got the Franjo Kovac Mercedes. He's taken over from Cora Schumacher, the Croatian driver, being caught now.
And about to be lapped.
Indeed so, and that's going to give a little bit more hesitation to Rob Sievers. Now, number 26 has a 3-second stop-and-go penalty to make up the shortfall on the regulation 100 seconds. So Mad Siljehorg has got a 3-second stop-and-go penalty for being under on the pit stop time.
Oh, what a shame. Oof.
Rob Sievers doing his best to not waste any time here, getting past Franjo Kovac, but through comes Oscar Tunjo. The Colombian driver goes through, gains another place, and he's chipping away. He's almost on the back now of the race leader. It was a 1.5 seconds last time. They come across the timing line now, and 1.5 is down to half a second. This is the lap on which the lead will change, surely.
Yeah, should do. Tunjo's just eaten that gap away completely.
So Rob Sievers in the Pro-Am battle, as well as the overall battle, is about to lose out. Oscar Tunjo right there behind him. Up the inside, Sievers defends. The Cayman keeps the Audi behind him. And again, they come out of turn 4, then almost as one. Where does Tunjo make the move? He's got plenty of time to bide his time here and just go when the moment is right, but is it going to be now at the hairpin? Sievers carries a lot of speed in.
And he's pulling up, pulling up. Tunjo is coming into his element here.
So out of the Bilstein curve they come now towards the Ad Van Bogen, the climb up the hill out of this right-hand kink. Speed building, is this where the Audi has got the pace? The answer is yes, because it inches up onto the tail of the Porsche. Towards the chicane they come, but the soft version doesn't really give you as much scope to overtake because there isn't really a start-stop element. It's more of a flick through.
Flick through. Into the Jaguar curves, then down the paddock straight. Could he do it there? Oh, he's hanging on at the tail.
So Tunjo on the back of Sievers then. Porsche leads Audi. 14 minutes to go. They've done 28 laps. The Porsche defends. Tunjo dives around the outside. If he can get the car slowed down, he will get the race lead here. And he drifts a little bit too wide. So Rob Sievers hangs on for a little bit longer. But Tunjo now has shown intent, hasn't he?
Yep. Tunjo right up the back of Sievers again. Pushing on, pushing on. Very, very... And he makes a move. He makes a move. There are... Nope, and he switches sides. He's coming into the hairpin. Powering on. Still not getting by. Sievers is defending well. Tunjo takes a lot of curb and a lot of dust is kicked up. That will slow him slightly there. Sievers pulling through. And there we have the 22 car of Coripiava. And here we have Sievers and Tunjo again coming up to the chicane. Rob Sievers still in the lead. Tunjo thundering behind him, but not finding that opening.
Matt Sillyhog back into the race. Also, Johnny Jasper's Audi has made another pit stop, which might be for a penalty that's not been communicated to us as the leaders go by. So down towards turn one, Sievers on borrowed time here. Oscar Tunjo is 0.2 of a second back as they come into turn one. He's tried it here before. He's going to try again. Wide in, tight out, but that's going to put him on the outside line up to turn two. Here he comes, but Rob Sievers keeping the inside line, having to defend like he's never defended before. Tunjo will switch across. No gap on the inside, still can't do it. Good defence this by the Porsche.
Yeah, excellent.
Rob Sievers hangs on to the advantage just for the moment as they come up towards turn four. Tunjo sees a gap, sees it close.
Yeah, great defensive driving by Sievers.
So they come towards the hairpin now, and Tunjo has lost a length. It was here that he was way up the curb a lap ago. And Sievers goes wide and gets a little bit sideways, so that's going to compromise him on the exit speed. Tunjo closes, but not close enough to attack. In now to Ravenol, and then the Bilstein curve they come. And Sievers a little bit wide there as well. The pressure is telling, isn't it?
Yeah, he's getting a bit ragged, isn't he?
But bear in mind, when they got together, it was 18 minutes to go. It's now just under 12.
Yeah.
Still, Tunjo has not found a way through. And this is where the balance of performance works in GT racing, because when you get the two cars together, suddenly life becomes a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Car number 4, Audi, was 1 second short on the pit stop, so got the 1 second stop-go penalty. Out of the chicane they come. Porsche versus Audi here, up towards the Jaguar curve, and Tunjo again closing up a little bit.
But not close enough.
Over the timing line, 11 minutes and change on the clock as they go through. And it is the Porsche still ahead by 0.3 of a second now. So Oscar Tunjo has done all the hard work. He's caught up, but now finding it much more difficult to get past. Sievers doing a good job of defending here, driving the race of his life. Tunjo closing up at turn 2. Wants to try and get the undercut here against the bewinged Porsche, but again he can't quite do it. Now he goes for the inside at turn 3 and gets a face full of Porsche. The Cayman hangs onto the place.
Sievers is definitely on the ball in his mirrors here to see what Tunjo's doing.
And this is somebody that's raced at the highest level of single-seater racing, up to Formula Renault 3.5 GP3 level, Oscar Tunjo, as he comes out of the hairpin again. 10 minutes are on the clock still.
Yeah.
So nose to tail, they make the plunge downhill once again. Oscar Tunjo looking for the race lead. He goes to the outside. Then he needs to try to get the drag up the hill. Has he got the pace? He's in the toe of the Porsche, but then the chicane doesn't really give you a proper opportunity to outbrake in these cars because you're not braking enough. It's the flick through the left and the right, but Sievers is sideways. Now Tunjo makes the move up the inside line. Rob Sievers just covers the move in time. We're almost into the last 10 minutes. Sievers hits the curb on the inside of the Jaguar corner. Oscar Tunjo bearing down on him all the time. Sievers moves across and defends the inside line. Tunjo to the outside as they come past the pits. 9.5 on the clock as they come through. Audi on the outside, Porsche on the inside line into the braking zone. Rob Sievers just ahead. Tunjo brakes late, he goes through. Can he slow down in time as he gets to the corner? He's on the outside line and he loses the lead again.
Oh, so frustrating. Oh,
Dives
no,
up the
wait,
inside.
inside.
He's done it this time, surely, because there's the gap. Job done.
Whoa. Excellent recovery by Tunjo there to get that overtaking manoeuvre.
Brilliant stuff from Oscar Tunjo because it looked as though that was game over for a couple of corners, but then saw a gap, seized the opportunity, dives up the inside. And look what's going on behind as well, because while we've been concentrating on the two race leaders, and here's a replay of the move, Ilmari Corpivara is catching in the KTM. So Sievers moves across, brakes for turn 2, and then thinks, oh no, I've left the door open. And Tunjo dives through,
forcing Sievers wide.
So the Audi gets the advantage then with, what have we got now, 8.5 minutes to go.
I think that's it then.
The question now is going to be over second place. Can Ilmari Corpivara, there in the white KTM, the car that was taken over from Benjamin Mazetis, get up into second place? Inevitably, a bit of the fire will go out of Rob Sievers now, thinking, oh, I've lost the lead, I'm going to have to settle for second place. But he might need to be on his toes because he could get caught by that KTM before the end.
Yeah, and it is catching him quickly.
So the last couple of laps slower for the Porsche because of defending, but now Corpivara hustles on. 8 minutes on the clock still.
And the leaders come down the pit straight into turn 1, and Tunjo is pulling a little lead away from Sievers now. But Corpivara is pulling up behind Sievers, so Sievers will soon come under pressure from that KTM crossbar. That's
right, because the gap between them is only 1.9 seconds here. And there is Marianec putting a lap on Franjo Kovac. Marianec is 4th now. Having done the fastest lap of the race, don't forget, early on.
Wow. Tunjo's moving away.
Which is all a bit inevitable, I guess, really, given the speed and experience.
Yeah.
So number 4, just to recap on the sister Audi, had a drive-through for contact, had a stop-go for being 1 second short on the pit stop. So Jean-Louis Jasper is down in 8th, and Mads Sillyhog, after his 3-second stop-go penalty, down in 7th place.
Oh. There's Tunjo coming up to the chicane, smoothly through it. No, just a slight lift and then back straight on the power. Through the Jaguar curves, down the paddock straight. Very nicely done. And that extra torque and power of that engine set up by Phoenix Racing, paying dividends.
So there goes the leading R8 LMS GT4. Oscar Tunjo now with, what, 3 more laps to do?
Yep. Oops, went a bit wide there.
Rattles it over the curb a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, you could hear it.
Exactly. There's Corpivara in the background, closing on Sievers.
Yeah, now Sievers' mirrors are full of another white car.
Maserati soldiering on lower down of in 12th place. Faskikolo with a damage, but they're going through number 7 of Maciej Marcinkiewicz. Mads Sillyhag still pressing on behind him. Remember, he gave up that place to the KTM earlier and to the Audi, and now they're coming back at him.
Yeah. So Sillyhag powering through. There's the number 4 Audi with all of the issues it's had. Nordic driving there. Damage on the front of it there, I see. Hadn't noticed that before. Motoring on though. The damage to the back of it, it's flapping in the wind, but still hanging on there for many, many laps.
Yeah, how much of an effect that's going to have, I don't know. But
yeah.
This was the car with the fastest lap early on. Lennart Marionetch has done it now and just improved on his last lap again.
Yeah.
Interesting as well, isn't it, that Rob Sievers, I know he's lost the lead and he's lost a bit of time, but Tunjo's not gone scarpering into the wild blue yonder. It's not a massive gap.
No, and it's staying constant as well. Says up there 1.65.
So the order is Oscar Tunjo there leading the way from Rob Sievers' Porsche in second place, Audi ahead. Third is the KTM of Ilmari Korpivara. Fourth now is the KTM of Lennart Marionetch. Fifth is the Sin, Ivan Vlachkov, who is leading the AM Cup. Sixth, the Maserati of Maciej Marcinkiewicz. Seventh is the KTM of Mads Sillyhorg. Eighth for Audi, John-Louis Jasper. Ninth in the other Porsche, Freddie Kramer. 10th is the Mercedes of Freddie Fast. 11th is the Mercedes of Franjo Kovac. And then in 12th place, many, many laps down, 10 laps down after damage and a couple of early lengthy pit stops, is the Maserati of Giuseppe Fascicolo.
Yeah, that's a shame for them.
So there is the leading Audi through Oscar Tunjo, who will get 2 more laps out of this.
Yeah.
Down towards the hairpin. And the gap that he's got is going up all the time now, 2.1 seconds.
Whoa.
I think he is seeing off Rob Sievers now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. That's an increase of half a second there. Oh, there's an odd noise from the engine there.
Now here's the battle for second place, which is not done yet because Korpivara here is closing on Sievers.
He is definitely closing.
Up the curb goes the KTM.
Whoa, he's right on the tail now, isn't he?
He is, so is it going to be this lap that he finds a way through, or will he wait until the run down towards the Mercedes arena on the next lap?
Yeah.
He's certainly got the pace to do it now, hasn't he?
He's looking both ways. Just not there. See, that's where the slipperiness of the Porsche pays off, the KTM. And they come through, and as you see, he catches up again to the Porsche, through the chicane, through the Jaguar curve, and then down the pit straight. He's got to make his move soon, because 1 minute 48 left. But he's sitting in the slipstream of the Porsche. He's looking both sides, seeing what to do. He's psychologically setting up Sievers and he's dropped back. He's taking the outside line. Is he going to go for the cut through? He's going to attempt it. No, he can't make it stick. But he's right on the bumper.
They'll get 1 more lap out of it at the end of this as they come into turn 2. Korpivara, Mari Korpivara, former Clio Cup racer, crawling all over the back of the Porsche then of Rob Sievers. 2 very different propositions to crack the GT4 nut here.
Yeah.
The Porsche versus the KTM, one a mainstream sports car, the other a low-volume sports car, and to the outside line goes Korpivara down to the hairpin.
Not going to make that stick. Oh, and up the curbs it goes, Korpivara. But still on the tail of Sievers. 47 seconds left. Oop, he's having a look. Nope. As they head up the straight to the chicane. Could he do something under braking? He's close, he's close. He's got a wheel. And he's made it.
Up the curb, but he's done it. He goes wide.
He goes wide.
Sievers comes back at him.
Oh. Sievers takes it back, I think.
Onto the last lap goes Tunjo. Sievers back into second place. Third is Corpivara, and look who's behind them. Lennart Marionetch lapping 4 seconds quicker nearly than these two.
Whoa.
So he might be up with them by the end of the lap as Rob Sievers dives down towards turn 1 for the last time of asking. Tunjo is through the traffic. He's getting up past the, or about to get past the Maserati, I think I'm right in saying, of Fasicholo. So there is Rob Sievers in second place, 4 seconds behind the leader, and only a fifth of a second up on Corpivara. But fair play to fighting back. He's not taking it lying down, Rob Sievers.
No, that was an excellent move there, moving into off the Jaguar curves to recover from that. That was superb.
So down towards the hairpin they come, and second, third, and very nearly fourth as one there. You've got Marionetch catching up as well. Into the hairpin they turn, and there the race leader, having got himself up past the rather graunched Maserati of Fasicholo, leading the way. Oscar Tunjo clear of the rest of them. Sievers, Corpivara, Marionetch, Porsche, KTM, second, third and fourth with half a lap to run now.
Oh, he's running out of time.
Ilmari Corpivara then up the curb, coming out of the Bilstein curve, makes the run now up into the Ad Van Bogen. This is where the Porsche's power tells, but remember it was into the last corner a lap ago where Corpivara made his move. Can he do it again? Tunjo through the chicane. He's heading for a win. The Audi then, that finished yesterday's race second, is going to go one better. Corpivara is closing behind, full second place. Oscar Tunjo and Gassai Rodest to get to win the second race of the weekend in the GT4 Central European Cup. Second is going to be a virtual dead heat on the line because they're side by side. Corpivara just alongside and he manages not quite to do it. Sievers is second, third is Corpivara. Fourth is Marionetch, and the gap between them at the end was 30 thousandths of a second. Rob Sievers ahead of Ilmari Corpivara by just 30 thousandths. Marionetch fourth, Lennart Marionetch in fourth place. And then for fifth, Ivan Velachkov, there he is in the sin. Sixth should go the way of Maciej Marcinkiewicz in the healthier of the two Maseratis. We lost one even before the start. But what a battle between Rob Sievers and Ilmari Corpivara.
That was the drive of Rob Sievers' career, that one, I would say.
Absolutely, had to work very hard
for
that.
Worked really hard, yeah. Absolutely incredible.
Well, a job well done.
Yep.
Second place, just.
Yeah. And what an exciting race for the crowds.
Yeah, again, numerically, it was a smaller grid than might have been wished for, but it's given a very entertaining race. That is full certain. So Ivan Velachkov winning in the AMS. Second of the AMS, Maciej Marcinkiewicz.
And here comes Fast
and
Freddy.
The third of the AMS will be 41, the Freddie Kramer and Joachim Bolting Porsche. Freddie Fast ends up 10th. And he's the last driver on the lead lap. So a win for Oscar Tunjo and Gassai Rodest at the end of another very lively round of the GT4 Central European Cup.
My palms are sweating.
I bet Rob Sievers were as well.
Yeah. Well, he'll have had racing sweat gloves on, I would imagine. So. But yeah, that was a great race by the Audi. Phoenix Racing will be ecstatic.
And Gassai Rodest doing everything absolutely right in her stint.
Yeah.
Never took the lead, but stayed in touch, comes through for the win. So Gassai Rodest and Oscar Tunjo victorious from Nicholas Scherl and Rob Sievers. Third, Benjamin Mazatis, and in the second stint, Ilmari Corpivara, redeeming himself for yesterday when he damaged the car ahead of David Klar and Lennart Marionetch. Fifth goes to the soloist Ivan Velachkov, the winning AM. Sixth, despite a penalty, Mads Sillyhorg and Marilyn Niederhauser from Maciej Marcinkiewicz. Eighth goes the way of Jean-Louis Jasper and Helmut Röding ahead of Freddie Kramer and Joachim Bolting. Then it is Freddie Fast for 10th place with a lap down in 11th, Franco Kovac and Cora Schumacher, and Giuseppe Fasicholo and Romy Dall'Antonia 12th, 10 laps down after the two lengthy pit stops to try and repair the damage early on.
Yeah, that was such a shame, especially when it was not your fault. So they're getting the drivers out the car. This is the winner, Tunjo. He'll be well pleased with himself with that job, the car. Good partnership with him, with Gassai. Giving the old victory sign there to the camera.
Rob Sievers celebrating second place. Benjamin Mazetis walks away. Replay of the highlights of the race, which began with this big drama down at the first corner when the Maserati was tapped into a spin and then headbutted out of the way by Helmut Rödig. It did a lot of damage to the Maserati and gave the Audi a drive-through. Working up the order was Gisela Rodess. First of all, she had to pick off Ivan Vlachkov and then set off in pursuit of the race-leading car. And there were a number of pit stops for Romeo Dall'Antonio. The first one was to get the tyre wraps on, but that wasn't really satisfactory. So a second longer pit stop befell the 77 Maserati, much to the annoyance there, as you see, of Giuseppe Fuscicolo as the car was back in, and the winners from the Red Bull Ring ending up down in 12th place, 10 laps adrift. As the pit stop window opened, Benjamin Mazetis gave way to Imari Corpivara, and the pit stop cycling through. Jean-Louis Jasper took over from Helmut Rödig, the car having been given a drive-through already for the incident with the Maserati. It would get another penalty, a stop-go for being short on the pit stop, and it also missed out the chicane. So the car, with its rear damage, involved in this frantic fight with the KTMs. Mads Sillyhorg in one, Lennart Marianec in another. And it almost came to grief as Marianec hustled his way up the inside of Sillyhorg, diving through the Ad Van Bogen. But then Sillyhorg made a mistake and ran out wide, going through turns 2 and 3. All the while, they were trying to find a way past Maciej Marianec. In the end, he let them go. But then honours came for the lead. Sievers versus Tunjo. The pair of them battling together as they ran into the hairpin. Tunjo ran wide on exit, up the curb, but it was only a matter of time. But Sievers was doing the defence of his life. For as long as he possibly could, he hung on in there until he just left the door open at turn 2. And that enabled the Audi to sweep through and take over the advantage. Oscar Tunjo into a lead he was never to lose. But then Rob Sievers fell back into the clutches of Ilmari Corpivara. And the two of them ran nose to tail and even side by side. Corpivara made the move. We thought he made it stick, but he was so rapid into the Jaguar curve, he ran out deep. Sievers got back ahead of him. And so Corpivara started the last lap, having to do all the hard work all over again. He ended up level pegging with Sievers at the timing line. Missed out by 0.03 of a second, enabling this car of Oscar Tunjo and Gisela Rodess to win our second GT4 Central European Cup race of the weekend. There is Gisela Rodess with Oscar Tunjo. They'll make their way up to the podium very shortly. So the organisers need them to pose for the cameras. And the requisite sponsors' patches have to be on the overalls. So you can't have the wrong tyre supplier on.
No.
Gisela Rodess gets her hair right, and then we'll put her cap on and get the Pirelli sticker onto her overalls. So Nina Pfeffner from SRO marshals them up towards the podium area in the fan village here. On the live stream, we've got 2 more races to come, starting at 5 minutes to 4 this afternoon. We'll have the final FIA ETRC race. We'll have our final Mittelrhein Cup race as well. And 2 good truck races to look forward to a little bit later on in the afternoon. Gisela Rodess there, talking to the Phoenix technicians. And we'll head towards the fan village shortly, where Rob Sievers and Nicolas Schürl will join her, and so too will Benjamin Mazetis and Ilmari Corpivara.
And there's the Bill we've been talking about.
Yes, he's brave.
He's brave, little boy. I think they might have it on the gentle setting for him.
You're probably right about that, yes. So our drivers going to the podium, and this is all part of all the different things to see and do at the ADAC Truck Grand Prix weekend. It's making it look easy.
Yeah. I know I'd be off by now. And the clean-up begins. Get all the debris off the track.
Yes, there might be the odd bit of bodywork, I think, from GT cars, but nothing too serious.
Mainly Maserati parts.
Absolutely right. We saw the Trident, didn't we, lying in the middle of the road?
Yeah.
So the officials are out there sweeping the circuit.
That might end up on the wall of a local restaurant at some point.
I think you're probably right about that, yes. Let's confirm the way they came over the line then. Gisela Rodess and Oscar Tunjo, the winners from Nicolas Schürl and Rob Sievers. Benjamin Mazetis and Ilmari Corpivara taking 3rd. 4th goes the way of David Klar and Lennart Marianec from Ivan Vlachkov, the AM winner. Yesterday's winners are 6th today, Marilyn Niederhauser and Mad Sillyhog from Maciej Martinkiewicz, then Helmut Rödig and Jean-Louis Jasper after 2 penalties down in 8th. 9th goes to Joachim Bulting and Freddie Kramer, and 10th to Freddie Fast. So the drivers in a few moments will head through the fan village on their way to the podium.
Wonder what these guys here do delivering this truck. Here we have the podium.
So I think we've done with our pole sitters podium. Satina watches go to the 2 drivers that set class pole position. So you've just had Nicholas Scherl and Ivan Blachkov up onto the podium. And so now the top 3, Benjamin Mazatis and Ilmari Kopivara, step forward for 3rd place in the KTM. Benjamin is there. There is Ilmari. Then for 2nd place, Rob Sievers and Nicholas Scherl step forward from the Allied Racing Porsche. And then our race winners. That's another female victor of this weekend. So this is our 3rd race to be won by Lady Gashaya Rodest and Oscar Tunjo, her co-driver, make their way onto the podium. And there's also going to be the representative of Phoenix Racing onto the podium as well. The local team makes good then. So a variety of drivers on the podium over the weekend in the GT4 Central European Cup. Handshakes all round. And it is Leon Wippersteg who will represent Phoenix Racing, team engineer. And so there, Leon Wippersteg joins the drivers on the top step of the podium.
For the German national anthem.
So congratulations to Phoenix Racing, the winning team for Oscar Tunjo and Gashaya Rodest. The national anthem of the winning team is played, and so now the trophies will be presented in reverse order, of course, to our 3rd placed drivers of Benjamin Mazatis and Ilmari Kopivara. Pirelli is a very enthusiastic partner of GT Racing, as well as Formula 1 and Formula 2 and GP3, and the circuit race division here to represent the Italian company. There for 2nd place is Rob Sievers and Nicholas Scherl, who receive now the 2nd place trophies. And then for the race winners, Phoenix Racing, Oscar Tunjo and Gashaya Rodest take the winners' trophies at the end of the pretty hard fought, it must be said, 2nd race in the GT4 Central European Cup. They all pose for the photographs. And as soon as the photographers are happy, they'll then be released, and the podium will be made ready for the winning AMs. The champagne to be sprayed. Everyone tries to bail out of the way as quick as they can, understandably.
Yeah. Whoops. And they're falling off the podium. Not because they've drank any champagne, just that it's slippy with the champagne.
They're not on a wet setup, are they?
Yeah.
Who'd be a trophy girl?
Who'd be a trophy girl?
So bravo to our winners. And they make their way off the podium now.
Und wir setzen jetzt die Siegerehrung fort. Oscar, great job, great job. Wir setzen jetzt die Siegerehrung fort.
And so we'll wait for the amateur podium to be made ready. Quick word with the drivers for the German fans. And then up will come the top three out of the second class. Trophy girls are back, and third place is going to go the way of Joachim Bolting and Freddie Kramer in the second of the Allied Racing Porsches. Joachim Bolting, who was a late addition to the entry after a bit of shuffling, he replaced Jan Kasperlik. Maciej Marcinkiewicz makes his way up onto the podium, driving solo after co-driver Kreshki was taken ill. But the winners, or the winner rather, another solo effort this for Ivan Vlachkov in the Sin, and he will step up to the top step of the podium.
Good for Sin.
Definitely.
Ja, Mütze muss auch auf, ganz klar, kriegen wir hin, kommen alle hin.
So for the Sin team, the representative gets up onto the podium from the Sofia Car Motorsport team. And now we'll have the national anthem of said winning team. So to a backdrop more of truck horns than the anthem, the winning drivers on the podium will shortly receive their trophies at the end of this second GT4 Central European Cup race from the Nurburgring.
No, I don't think we're going to get the Bulgarian national anthem.
Everyone's standing there as though they can hear it on the podium. Maybe we're not getting the audio, but there's no concern, and now all the hats go back on. So I think we've done the anthem, but our feed isn't giving us that audio, sadly. So what we do have is the trophies to be presented, and this SRO administered championship giving us plenty of good racing this weekend. And to step forward to make the presentations from Pirelli, there are the trophies for Freddie Kramer and for Joachim Bolting, the Porsche drivers. Freddie Kramer, who's been around the block a fair few times, hugely experienced driver, but still enjoying his racing. There in second place, Maciej Marcinkiewicz takes second spot. That'll be the trophy for the winning team as well. And then there will be the winning trophy to the winning driver, and that is Ivan Vlachkov, who takes another victory within the AM competition. So they will all get together for the photographs. The trophy girls are getting savvy at this. They know exactly when to run, and they run. The champagne is sprayed. The fans that like all of this enjoy being at the front and getting saturated. The drivers have done for the weekend, and the podium for the GT4 Central European Cup is completed. Bravo to our drivers. The ADAC International Truck Grand Prix live stream will take a break now. It is 2:15, give or take, local time, and we'll be back at 4 local time, ready for the final ETRC and Mittelrhein Cup races of the weekend. So we'll be back, as I say, in around about an hour and a half or so. We look forward to your company for 2 more lively races here from the Nurburgring.
GT4 an den Nürburgring gebracht hat. 2 tolle Rennen im Rahmen des Truck Grand Prix. Herzlichen Dank, thank you very much. So, wir haben dann das